Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner Classics / Non-Classics, episode 986, and Doubleshot number 880. Got two TC trades for you. One is basically by Scott Snyder, the other one is a Superman trade. What from Scott Snyder? Red Hood Outlaw Volume 1, Requiem for an Archer. This collects Red Hood and the Outlaws, and number 2, the 26th issue of the second volume, and Red Hood Outlaw 27-31. Yep. Yeah, in case you're wondering, yeah, Jason Todd gets a brand new outfit in here, and he's by himself. And also, there's a plot thread in here where he's still searching for Artemis and Bizarro. Unsuccessfully. Yeah, after this, he doesn't do it for quite a while. So, he gets retrieved by Red Hood. Where do they go? They're all base operations from the previous line for the series, where they had Starfire. Yep. Where they made up a Starfire, where they actually had Starfire live there for a while. They had there for a little while, then eventually, basically the annual picks up just right where the issue 25 leaves off, and of course basically he starts on his own, and then eventually he ditches the outfit he wore at the start of this series, and basically puts on this. And so I go to this underbelly thing, try with a drug from a small town, and he runs into Batwoman. Gets into a brief fight with her, and then they team up to take out some drug dealers. Yep. And then eventually, after they finish up there, they get picked up by Batwoman's girlfriend, Renee Montoya, making her first appearance since the end of the Batwoman title. Great to see this character. I love Renee Montoya, and I love the fact she and Batwoman are a couple. And I think that she knows that Kate Kane, as far as I can tell, Renee Montoya does know that Kate Kane is in fact Batwoman. And I love the fact these two are a couple. I mean, why not? These two were a couple pre-Flashpoint. They actually were broken up by the time she was finally introduced. But yeah, I love it. And we also have a guest appearance here by Bruce Wayne. Why is he here? Of course, he also informed that Jason Todd did not kill the Penguin. He's actually alive. Though they'll explain until later. And he informs Jason Todd that Roy Harper has died. Yep, having a reference to events of Heroes for Crisis, an event that basically, where it's ending, made everybody so angry at Tom King. I'm sure he got a lot of flack for the ending of the series. That'll be talked about another time when I get a chance to talk about the Heroes for Crisis miniseries. How really kind of dumb the event is. Though it does look good artwork by Clay Mann. Yep. And we also see... I'm trying to remember what else happens in here. Oh yeah, and then Scott does something really cool in here. He has Jason Todd find Bunker. Yes, frickin' Bunker. Making his first appearance at this point, first time in 2 years. Because I know this came out just recently, like last year I think it was. Yeah, last year. You had the return of Bunker. Yes, the return of Bunker for the first time since the end of the previous volume for Teen Titans. They mentioned, Teen Titans no more. That is a lie. Teen Titans are perfectly fine. Also in the annual Red Hood and Arsenal fight the Sisters of Susie Sue. Yep, she comes back in here, this overweight woman. By the way, she becomes a recurring character in the next arc for this particular series. Yeah, for a start for this, actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next trade comes out, which comes out in December. Yeah, so I have to wait like 5 months for the next trade. Next up, I'm sure Tivia basically is one to get my thoughts in this particular miniseries. The question is, he didn't like the series at all, and it was listed on his, I think if I remember correctly, it was listed on his worst series of last year. The Man of Steel by Brian Michael Bendis. Artwork by a lot of really big name artists. Who is on here as the artist for this miniseries? We have co-publisher Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez, Dexter Vines, Ivor Reyes, a guy who's worked frequently with Jeff Johns, Joe Perotto, Jason Fabok, another artist basically who worked with Jeff Johns, Evan Doc Steiner, Steve Rude, Ryan Snook, Wade Von Gerbedger, Kevin McGuire, and Adam Hughes. The cover art here is done by Ivor Reyes, Joe Perito, and Alex St. Clair. This book not only contains the 6-issue miniseries of the Man of Steel, well, second volume Man of Steel, also collects Bendis' story from Action Number 1000 and D. Chase Number 0. This essentially put is the start of Brian Michael Bendis' era for Superman, which has gone on for the past year, which has now led into the miniseries. Yeah. Now I should point out that the story that Bendis had from Action 1000, that's actually something that takes place during issue 4 of this particular miniseries. In each issue, you have a guest appearance by various characters DCU. You have Wonder Woman, you have Batman, you have an issue, you have Green Lantern show up. Yes, Green Lantern. They also introduced a new character named, she's basically their deputy chief of the fire department, who becomes pretty much a supporting character in the pages of Action Comics. We also have a guest star appearance by frickin' Firefly. Yeah, Firefly. Actually, not Firefly. It's actually no, that's Killer Moth, making his first appearance in pages of, I think it was Batgirl. I think it was the last appearance. Yeah, we also have appearance by this woman here. She's actually because after this miniseries she becomes a supporting character in Action Comics. This is Melody Moore, this beautiful deputy chief, and it's hinted that she's attracted to Superman, but nothing much has come of this because Superman would never cheat on Lois Lane. We also have a subplot in here where Jor-El shows up. Yes, Jor-El, aka Mr. Oz. He shows up and he wants to take his grandson to outer space for some reason, and Lois goes with him for some reason. I don't know why. Now, despite the fact that, yes, Dan Jurgens already had this character die in the Oz Effect storyline, which basically revealed the whole thing of Jor-El being Mr. Oz. He was one person a lot of people didn't suspect being Mr. Oz, but yeah, he's Mr. Oz. A lot of people suspect it was either pre-Flashpoint Lex Luthor, some people. Jor-El was not people's high list. It was completely unexpected, but yeah. And yes, you can see by the cover, this is basically the storyline where Superman puts on back his red trunks. Heck, they even commented on it in the Action Comics 1000 story. Like, oh look, he's wearing the red underwear again. Yeah, I noticed that. I also kind of noticed not only that, but it looks like that his costume is basically kind of a combination in a way of his pre-Flashpoint costume and a little bit of his Rebirth costume because the sleeves look very similar. I say it's basically what the artist did with this is they combine both costumes into one, create this. I personally don't have a problem with this. Now, a lot of people were really worried when Bendis took over as the writer for Superman that he was going to have Superman and Lois basically break up and kill off John Kent. I actually asked him about this on Instagram and Twitter if he has any problem with this. He has no problem with Superman's marriage, and he has no problem with John Kent. So, he didn't kill him off, he just sent him off to space for a little while. Okay, I don't have a problem with that at all, because a lot of people really love, like my friend Tiffany, he loves John Kent. He loves him. And he's an old school fan of the Superman and Lois Lane marriage. I have known about the marriage. These two have had since I've read the issue where they got married. Not when it came out. I read it online like a couple years ago. But yes. We also revealed that now basically has been its levels of retcon stuff. Doesn't work anything from Superman's backstory or any of Superman's history. Nope. He completely leaves that alone. He does not touch that at all because even he knows not to screw up a good thing when coming. Especially since Dan Jurgens did a fantastic job, in my opinion, on Action Comics, and Peter Tomasi did a really good job on Pages of Superman. So he doesn't ignore what happened in those two runs because that'd be stupid. As far as I know, I don't think he's ever done that for even any Marvel books he worked on. I don't think he ever ignored anything that went on previously. He may not mention it, but at least doesn't ignore it. Thank God. And he reveals this alien named Ryder Zor, who's got an axe. Apparently, he retconned that he was the one who destroyed Krypton. It wasn't destroyed by natural causes, what it was basically referred to as for years. That's the only thing they changed about Superman, was what caused destruction of Krypton. I'm like, I don't have a problem with that at all, because that's an okay change. But if you change anything about Superman's history, that probably would tick off a lot of people. I mean, I may not be a big Superman fan, but I do enjoy reading his stories. And this change, I do not have a problem with this at all. I don't know my friend Tivia how he felt about this change, but me, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. That's just my opinion, anyways. And of course, when this miniseries ends, it sets up stuff for the pages of Action Comics. Basically, there was a series of fires going on in the page in Metropolis, so that's explored in the page of Action Comics. The whole thing, the Phantom Zone stuff, and of course the alien, that's explored in the pages of Bendis' run for Superman. As for Supergirl and the Axe, that's going to be explored in the pages of Supergirl, a book that was canceled prior to this, but it was later, basically, the cancellation was undone because, well, DC wanted to keep Supergirl going, probably because she's on TV now and she's popular. Though they have Mark Andrego doing the writing for that series. So I gotta say, I do like this miniseries. I do like the new direction, basically, that they want to take, that Bendis wants to take the character. And I trust Bendis, basically, what he's doing. I may not be, I barely remember exactly what happens in the pages of his run for Action Comics. His Superman was actually pretty good so far. I do plan on reviewing his run so far for Action Comics and Superman. I also plan on reviewing Supergirl. And of course, when the final issue comes out, the final trade that collects issues of the Adventure Super Son series. Yep. So I'd say for a good start for this, I'm gonna give this book a 9 out of 10. I tell my friend Tivia, basically, I know he's not really a big fan of this miniseries, but it's not pointless, but it's a good start for Bendis' run. Yep. These Nation Zero, just more set up basically for, because all this miniseries does, it just basically plants seeds that Bendis wants to explore in the pages of his 2 books that he wants to do, which is fine. I love when writers do that. They basically plant seeds early on, and they explore it later on in the book. Let's see. I'm trying to think what writers do that. Let's see. Top of my head. Let's see. Scott Snyder is currently doing that in the pages of Justice League. I know Williamson basically continues to basically start stuff and explores it basically along the line. A lot of writers do this, like some writers, heck, even manga writers are basically known for doing this. The most famous example is Oda, aka the writer of One Piece. He's had a humongous reputation for planting seeds early on that will be explored much later down the line. Yep. So yeah. I don't think my friend Tivia has reviewed the trade for this miniseries yet, but since I have. But for the start of Bendis' run for Superman, it's good. It's really, really good. That's just my opinion in the matter. And from what I heard about Bendis, basically, he's a big Superman fan. Despite the fact that a lot of stuff he's nowhere for doing, especially at Marvel, like when we jump over DC, a lot of people thought he was going to do some Batman work. He is technically doing Batman miniseries right now, Batman Universe. So, it's basically a reprint of Batman Giant Size 3 and 4, but he at least is writing Batman. I mean, people want to write Batman, so he's technically writing Batman. I mean, he wrote Batman in here, which is basically his first step writing Batman. He's also writing Batman pages of Leviathan, and whenever he shows them pages of Superman, which is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that, because Bendis is known for creating ground-based stories. Now, I know there's one particular person, there's one thing that he has Superman do that he doesn't generally do, is kind of do some swearing. I've heard that he does it. Reading this, Superman doesn't swear. Other characters swear. Not Superman. Superman does not swear. So I'm not sure where they get that from. It's probably either, I don't remember if that happened in the pages of his run for Superman or Action Comics, but it does not happen in here. It does not happen in this miniseries. Also, I love how this cover has sort of a highlight that, yes, you can tell where the highlight basically right where it's on Superman. So basically, they tell everybody he's the focus of the story, not the characters around him. Yeah, but I gotta say, like I said, for the start of Superman's run Bendis' run for Superman, it's a good start. And I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing his trades to collect this one for Action Comics and Superman and the course Supergirl book. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. I have one more review I'm going to do next, and then I'm going to watch Boruto. My next review, a movie review. You'll get my thoughts on that James Bond film next, okay? See you there. Bye.